And we are live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Purple Pill Pod. We're doing a special men's discussion today on on masculinity. Uh, but yeah, everybody that's coming in right now, please make sure to like the video on your way in and subscribe. Please hit the notification bell so you can see every time a live show comes up. Follow us on podcast Instagram as well. Add my boy right here. He's tagged on my story. We are now live to Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Rumble, and YouTube all at the same time. Go sign up for my mentorship if you're interested by just scheduling a free call down below. Just click the link. If you want to show your support, you can do that by hitting the join button under the video to become a YouTube member, which comes with some emojis for the show. Also, you can super chat in your questions if you have any for us for the show. Also, check out the merch store below. We're now streaming on all the audio platforms as well, guys. So please check me out on all of those. Which shout out to you because you're the one that actually told me to get my ass on all the audio platforms a long time ago, and I figured it out because you told me to do it. So yeah, check us out on
Yes.
all of those. But yeah, dude, shout out to you for coming back again, man. I'm happy to have you back, dude. We don't have a producer today, guys, so it's just me. If there's any audio issues or anything, just let me know so I can fix that because I'm Mr. Producer. But yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself and let them know where they can find you really quick, bro.
How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Levi Brickley. I'm from southeastern Kansas, 28 years old, and I'll just give you a little bit of background on my employment. I was a law enforcement officer for 5 years. Now I work in private security, and life is a journey. I currently run a podcast of approximately 75,000 followers across all streaming platforms, and speaking on the aspects of responsibility, men taking responsibility, the need for accountability, the need for community. And it's been an awesome growing period for me. I know I've grown a lot since the last time we sat down and had a conversation. So I am super pumped about this. I've been looking forward to it. I'm running on little sleep. So if
Yeah.
my mind is kind of like just a little bit off, just give me a little bit of grace. Go check out the Pursuing Truth podcast platform because I'm not always just kind of fumbling through my words.
Oh,
Actually,
you're just tired today.
yeah, dude, this is my life, bro. This sure
You've
SM7
been
beat,
going.
man.
Did you? Were you an officer last time you were here, and you just started the security job now?
Correct, correct.
Nice, man. So I mean, that's a big change since last time I saw you. A whole different job. What else is? I'm curious. Like, what else has been different? Like you sound like way more pumped this time. Like, what's changed between then and now?
Bro, I gave up on women completely.
You're like
And
MGTOW.
yeah, and I'm not saying, dude, it's not like I went gay.
Yeah.
Okay, no, dude, like I just finally was like, you know what? Women these days are like so out of
Reality.
out of reality, and I know that the type of man that I am, and owning my masculinity and talking about the power of responsibility and accountability, these things aren't attractive in today's culture.
Not at
And it,
all.
it just goes to show just how deprived our culture is of logical reasoning when we're communicating.
Yeah.
And so as I'm articulate, this throws women off. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to own where I'm at and just ride this out. And God's got a purpose for me and a reason for what I'm doing. And so I don't need a woman by my side to encourage me to continue doing this. I'm like, no, it's about the men.
Yeah.
It's about the men that need a man that is willing to say, "Hey, let's establish a community. Let's encourage one another. Let's hold each other accountable and responsible for our actions, and speak on the aspects of the things that can make us better as men."
Yeah, because that's what's actually going to change society and make it better. And like these women, they're just so covert, bro. Like you were saying, like the way you talk and how you are and stuff. Like women are attracted to that, and it's just they're so covert. Like we're very overt, and we love to like just be exactly who we are. We're gonna tell you straight the fuck up. Like we're
Right.
gonna tell you straight up. But they like play these mind games. But it's just that's what they've always done their whole life. Like they're the manipulative sex because they don't have the power and the
Mhm.
muscles that we do to shape society and shape the world and stuff. So they always throughout all of history had to learn to like use manipulation and like
Yeah.
weird
Yeah.
mental like games and like not being verbal and shit. And so like we definitely have like this huge barrier of like of communication that is crazy. I learn it on the show every night because like I talk like you to them. Like I'm very like, y'all gotta do this, you gotta keep your legs closed, like you gotta do like a bunch of this stuff. And when I do that, it's like very it pushes a lot of them away sometimes, but then some of them are like, I fuck with you because I get like what I get that you're turntables and like why you're doing it and why you have this much passion behind it, because like not a lot of people have like that much passion behind it, to like actually try to change them, because on the Monday night shows, yeah, I'm not helping the men. It's like all about helping the women and like trying to get them into better places mentally so they can actually be in relationships. A lot of them are good relationship people, but they're not mentally ready, or they're not they don't know how to discern between the men. Like they
Yeah.
keep like alpha chasing, or like Chad chasing, like alpha
Yeah.
jump into like just monkey branch into like all these high value dudes, thinking why isn't my pussy gold, and like holding them down. And it's
Yeah.
just like, it's like it did that for the normal guy, and it's like, yeah, the normal guy's not like that guy, like the normal guy's happy just to get something. So yeah, you can lock them in way easier, and they're just so confused about some of those things, so like I actually just end up feeling bad for them at the end of the day. But I understand like big tower, like men going their own way or just like not caring anymore, because when you stop caring, that's whenever you get to fully fall into your purpose. Like,
Yeah.
and what do women like the most? A guy that's fully on his purpose and his shit and not thinking about women and
Yeah.
not chase. And like honestly, you're not gonna find a girl who's really down for you if you're chasing them. Like they
Right.
have to come to you. Like you can't ever, if you're sitting there chasing women and texting them all the time, you just look like a simp, because there's
Exactly.
guys that they really like that they'll chase that doesn't even give them any attention. So you got to learn to be
Absolutely.
the bad boy and like actually kind of be like, yeah, fuck y'all, I don't care.
Yeah, yeah, and if it's bad that I'm not giving women attention anymore, then screw you.
Yeah, if
Like,
are they worthy of it?
yeah, exactly.
That's all that matters.
Like, dude, here's the thing. Here's another thing that changed. All right, last time I was on the show, man, I was $19,000 in credit card debt. All right, and I was like approaching this wall, and like it was kind of like this darkness bearing over me, and I was like, man, I got to make a change in my life. And how do I make that change? Well, I gotta like logically reason how did I end up here. I ended up here because I was trying to find validation in women, and through my validation in women and my failure in the dating world, I was out spending money to suppress my emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And then I hit this brick wall, and I'm working in law enforcement making $45,000 a year in southeastern Kansas. And I'm like, dude, I'm about to lose everything that I built in 10 years, the house I bought, everything that I established to potentially have a family one day, I'm about to lose. And so I started looking at new jobs, and I'm like, man, private security has always been a really high paying
It is.
job. And so I started looking into it. Now many people are like, oh man, the guy just wears a security badge, he works for Securitas and drives around the Boeing factory. No, 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 no. Like, let's get this straight. I work in the worst part of my metropolitan area, and I literally in the last 2 months have had two guns pulled on me, a knife, 2x4. I'm fighting these people with my bare hands, So, but here was the benefit, right? I doubled my pay. I'm projected to make 95K next year doing this job.
Let's
And so
go.
so what happened in the last 6 months, bro, is like I paid off 14, $15,000 in credit card debt. So as a man, I'm like, bro, I am secure in my finances. I am secure absent of a woman. I am 100% secure in my mentality on how I attack life. Because here's the thing, dude, life is a war. And like, I'm prepared for that war. And I'm going to go to war with my brothers. And so here's the thing, man, develop community with men.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you get that heart, man, get that courage, and go out, put your best step forward, and encourage people, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And this like grogginess of like women, poor me, they don't love me, they don't like me, whatever. Okay, cool, you don't have to like me, bro. But I know that there's a man out there that has a girlfriend right now that can improve.
Oh, dude, everybody can improve. Everybody, if you're not progressing, you're by definition regressing, because time is always moving forward. So yeah,
Right.
all of our brothers, doesn't matter the ones in relationships or non-relationships, all like I have tons of friends that I've been talking to that are like my old friends that I've known for 10, 20 years, and talking to them about self-improvement when they've been the same normal men for years. Like I've been playing video games with them for years, or I've been like, just hanging out with them for years, and they're still doing the same things. So it's just like trying to get them, on a kick of wanting to do better it's incredible how hard it is when people are so stuck in their old ways, like, and you find these pathways where you kind of have to be like, okay, well, do I cut this person off or not cut them off, but they're on the outside circle for now on because I need to have my inner ring as these inner hustlers that are trying to do the same thing I'm
Right.
doing.
Right.
And it's just like, it's crazy how you sometimes have to put the people on that outer ring that aren't going to go with you to the next level.
Right. So, like, as a man, how do you lead other men? You lead other men by selling them an idea.
Yep.
And once you sell them the idea, are they on board? And if they're on board, are they willing to follow you to go
Yeah.
to war essentially
Yeah.
against that idea, and so like you on this podcast, man, like obviously it's like you see all these women that have this like shallow perspective of men and need some like real authentic perspective of the dating world and some of their own actions where they may not understand the psychology of them consistently operating in emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And so like you're trying to provide that, and we need people that are willing to go out and do that. And so there's other men that are listening and they're like, man, no, like I'm like a ride or die on this Purple Pill podcast platform because I know that Sergio understands this,
Yeah.
and I want to be right there with him, and I'm going to watch it because these people need to know the truth, bro. Like, there's so much to psychology, there's so much to sociology, and so often people are caught up into this. Again, shallow mentality that they've been sold this lie. And what is the lie? The lie is that she's raised like, and this is where I have grace and empathy for women, is because from a young age they're sold this idea of a Prince Charming, right? And so then they're sold all of these different types of MTV TV shows, and like what was it,
Kardashians,
yeah,
yeah, everything.
Kardashians and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And so then it's just this kind of like shallow pop culture mentality, and it just plays into their life. And so what they go out and they do is they try to imitate those people on those shows, on what they see in pop culture, whether it's the musician, whatever. They're acting that same way, but they're also still wanting that Prince Charming that they wanted as a little girl. But then the attack of their mind is on them to go out and buy things and encourage them to be the
Run the
oh,
capitalism machine.
exactly, running the capitalism machine, bro. And
Keep it
so like,
going.
but they don't get out of the headspace of like, what does a good man want out of me as a woman?
Mhm.
And then it's like, is that woman willing to step up and be the woman that that man desires to have? I mean, I know that where I'm at in my life, not just any woman that will spread her legs in my bedroom is going to be worthy of me giving what I've worked so hard for.
Mhm.
The woman that deserves this is a woman that says, Levi, I choose you.
Mhm.
I will always be here with you. Even if I'm angry, even if I'm annoyed, I will be here with you.
Mhm.
Because what she knows about me is my heart. She's examined that. She accepts it. And she knows that I want what's best for her. And here's the thing, as a man, I'm not out there talking down to my woman. I'm not calling her names. I'm not telling her how to think about the world, but I'm sharing and communicating different perspectives. And that's the thing. I'm sharing different perspectives. I'm not telling her different perspectives. I'm just sharing. I'm just like, hey, have you ever thought of it this way? Instead of like having to teach her to
Mhm.
think differently. Maybe by me being an example to her of like implementing these things that I talk about, say on the Pursuing Truth podcast platform, maybe by me talking about those things and implementing them in my life, she sees that through me. She's like, I know that that man cares about me deeply and I can love him the way that he wants to be loved.
Mhm.
So then there's also this deeper sense of me internally step up and take responsibility. Man, make sure that you're following the words that come out of your mouth. Make
Mhm.
sure that you have control of that tongue. Make sure that you don't lose your emotions,
Yeah.
right? Because the last thing that a woman wants to see out of us, I believe, is us losing our emotions, i.e., getting angry. Ultimately, I mean, there's a time to cry. There's a time to get down. There's a time to get real with yourself. There's a time to get real with her and be vulnerable.
Mhm.
Okay. But not like every little thing, like, oh, Sergio called me a dick today. That would just be asinine and dumb, right?
Yeah.
Like, no, like I just need to be so secure in myself that I don't care what Sergio, if Sergio thinks I'm a dick or I'm an arrogant asshole, whatever it is.
Yeah, your
No,
self-esteem needs to be at the highest point possible.
right. But it needs to be at a sense of I have a high self esteem, but I'm also very humble, and she needs to be able to see that. But
Yeah.
I'm not like selling myself out to these emotions.
No.
I have control of them. And what she sees by me being in control of my emotions is that when we have kids and it's 7 a.m. in the morning and my 3-year-old comes in and starts jumping on the bed and I've only got 2 hours of sleep and my wife has been down my throat about doing the dishes and now this 3-year-old is jumping on my freaking bed, that I'm not going to lose my cool. That I'm not going to pick up that 3-year-old and throw the 3-year-old across the room, right?
Yeah.
No, it's going to, it shows that I have emotional fortitude to make it through my irritation and my anger, and I work through it. But
Yeah.
also with her, I'm patient.
Yeah.
See? And so, like, this is where men need to step up and take responsibility because you own that level of masculinity. The right woman will come along that can truly value that and appreciate it.
Yeah. No, and I think there's tons of them. It's just hard to find them today because they have so many other people that are chasing them that are like fuck people, and then you're trying to fight through them. What's up, live, love, plan, pray? A man in uniform, huh? Yes. And I gotta ask, because so like everybody has, I've been watching a lot of different stuff like on attachment styles and stuff, and everybody has different attachment styles and relationships, kind of based off of what they saw when they were growing up. I wanted to ask you, like, what would you say is like your attachment style? Like, how was you and your mother's relationship, and like you and your father's relationship?
That's a really good question, and I think it's one that all of us must examine within ourselves
Yeah.
because it really defines on how we perceive the opposite sex.
And how we view love and how we want to receive it
And
too.
this is the reason why it's important to be a really responsible, good mother and a really responsible, good father,
Exactly.
where both parties are together and are raising the children together and showing them how to get through the challenges of a relationship.
Hmm.
So, my mom and I, like, dude, we're like this. She's freaking awesome. Next month, we start what's called a foundation series, and we're going to be examining the character of God through the foundation series, which I'm super pumped about. Mom's very much like me. I get a lot of my intellectual thoughts from my mom, my willingness and how I carry myself, willingness to go into the world and look like an arrogant prick sometimes. That comes from my mom. But honestly, again, it's not an ego thing. It's just that I'm confident and I'm secure where I'm at. And so I get
No,
that from my
men
mom.
earn their egos.
Yeah,
I truly believe that. Like we earn our egos.
some men.
Yeah,
Some
some.
men.
Yeah, there's definitely some that got it way too much. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Or maybe their egos all their dick or something. I don't know. It just depends.
So like, it's 9 inches, bro. What
Uh,
you talking about?
yeah, I'm that guy.
You only gave him 9. No, I'm
Yeah.
kidding. Anyways, my dad was a raging alcoholic, man. He was absent. And I think like the power of perspective. I talk about this all the time on my platform. The power of perspective is like, yeah, my dad was absent. Yeah, my dad was a raging alcoholic. I mean, I'm telling you, bro, I got a voicemail from my dad middle of July in 2012, and he's like, "Hey, will you come pick me up? It's too hot to walk." Guess what he ended up doing because I didn't go pick him up? It's
Uh,
105 degrees outside. He's a diabetic. Bro, he walked a mile and a half to go get himself a bottom shelf vodka that he ended up probably mixing with water. So this is how bad his level of alcoholism was.
uh,
And the problem with that was the taming of the emotions, like what I was talking about. When my dad would, like, my dad sober was great, and he was very loving to my mom. My mom still says to this day, like, that was the only man I ever loved. But my dad, on the other hand, when he would lose those emotions, when he was drunk, he was like 3 a.m. phone calls, calling her every name in the book,
mm.
you know. And I remember being a kid, I wake up before my mom and I go click play on the answering machine. Yes, there was a time before cell phones, ladies and
Yeah, there
gentlemen.
was answering machine.
And we had answering machines
That was
with
crazy.
the home phones.
Yeah.
And I go over and I click play, and dude, and that just play out. And it would be my dad just talking smack on my mom. And it's like, I don't see my mom this way. But like, is this how, as a young boy, is this how I treat a woman? See, and so like the power of perspective here is I knew then that that was never who I wanted to be. I never wanted to be that man.
Hmm.
And so like every day, every year, every month, is just this constant, like, working on me, bro, and like constantly being aware of everything where I fail so that I can continually improve to be the man that the woman that maybe I'm meant to be with. Maybe I'm meant to be single. Maybe I'm meant to have this energy and
Yeah.
like just ride it out when that's my purpose. And that's okay. But you know, maybe that woman, like maybe that's everything that she's ever wanted.
Yeah.
Right.
Uh,
So that's how my mom and my dad's, my relationship with them, that's kind of how it
did your
played
mom
out.
remarry?
Yeah. She's been married a couple times since, but
But you didn't have like another good stepfather or anything like that?
no, I will say and give credit where credit is due, because God does bless us in ways that we don't always expect. I'm the youngest of seven of us, and actually
The
Annalise. So
youngest is crazy.
yeah, the my niece that was over here the last time when we did the podcast, Annalise. Her dad Bill has been a huge role model to me, and so I definitely got to give credit where credit's due, because anytime I need something, you know, even if it's been a 2 a.m. phone call, Bill's right there, you
How
know, and
many
so we need
brothers do
men
you
like
have?
that. I got four brothers,
That's
and
dope.
yeah,
That's
it's
dope,
awesome.
actually. At least you had a bunch of brothers, yeah, because that's basically like what you need. I really think actually what's messed up today is that a lot of guys don't have any brothers at all, and then they go out and they don't have friends, like they don't have any men around them in their life at all. Like they don't have brothers, and
Hmm.
they also don't have a friend group of men around them. So then they really fall into relationships with the worst kinds of women because they're just happy to have anything, you know. They have no guy friends to like help them out or anything. That's one of my biggest fears actually today, is because everybody's having less and less kids, so there's going to be less big families with a bunch of boys in them.
Right.
um what did you say? Live friend. Okay, I remember him now. He does podcasts with his mom often, right? I watched a few of his older pods. You have to be a mix of bad guy gentleman. Yes, you got to be a good mix. It's definitely a hard thing to balance, I would say.
Well, and it's subjective of what's good and what's bad.
Yeah, definitely some. But if we look at like Dr. David Buss's books, though, the evolutionary psychology, or I mean, the evolutionary desire, he explains a lot how like a lot of women's desires though are pretty like black and white. The thing is they have short term mating strategies and they have long term mating
Right.
strategies. Same with guys, we have short term mating strategies and we have long term mating strategies. And the problem is whenever we mix those two up, and everybody does this, like
Yeah.
women will be like, oh, I want kids from this guy who's super sexy, and it's just like, well, that guy that's super sexy that gets a lot of other women, he's not a good person for a long term mating strategy because he's not going to be able to provide resources for the long term. You
Right.
actually want that more beta ish dude that's like more normal and stuff, who doesn't have all these options, because he's going to be a great provider for the long run for your family.
Right.
And that's something that's hardwired for them to want. But a lot of them don't care about that anymore because they're like, I have my own job, I have my own career, I make my
Hmm.
own money. So they like think, oh no, I just want this short term guy like that I'm turned on by to be like the father of my kid. But it's like, no, like you actually don't like it. So it's like, but it's like a weird thing because then they end up with the long term dude. But if they're all used up by the short term guys, they're like, they don't really love the long term guy like they're supposed to,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know. And then next thing you know, they end up divorced and shit because they never really loved them and stuff. It's
and
fucked
when
up.
they're practicing short-term mating strategies, the question that a woman should have internally, if that's what she's involved in right now, is, am I happy?
Well, they just shouldn't do it at all.
Well, they
they're
shouldn't
not.
do
They're
it at
not
all.
happy. I'll
But
tell you, they're not happy.
well, we know that they're not happy, but
Yeah.
we can tell them that they're not happy. But dude, we're men behind a couple microphones. They're not going to listen to us. It's like, ask that question in yourself: are you happy? Like, truly, and name off reasons why you're happy with the way your relationships with men are going. And
Mm,
if you're not happy with them, maybe the problem is you.
yeah.
Hello,
I
ding,
always
ding,
I
ding.
always say it's if they're not, if a woman's on a relationship, it's always their fault because it's easy. Like men are like they're the gatekeepers of sex, you know. But so like it's hard for guys to get sex. But if we're the gatekeepers of a relationship, it means that she either doesn't want a relationship or she has some fucking issues. And I would say all women want a relationship. They just can't get it from the guy that they want.
Right.
Like I mean, they just always end up chat chasing, like I say. Um, so let me get to one of these like actual questions though. That's for our male improvement today. What do you think defines a real man today, man?
Integrity.
Integrity.
Integrity and character. A man who like has something to live for and abides by it. And what I mean by abides by it, he abides it in the darkness, like the hardest times of his life. He's like, I'm still going to live by what I know is true. He's accepted what his truth is, and he lives by that. When he's alone in his bedroom and he says, yo, I'm not going to beat off, I'm not going to masturbate, right? He still lives by that.
Mhm.
And he goes out and talks about it to other men and says, hey, man, this is detrimental to you, but he lives by it too.
Mm.
So a real man can live by his words, by his tongue, and always lives by that. So,
Yeah, for sure. What about how have men's roles changed over time, and what does that mean for
oh
masculinity, you
man,
think?
wow, that is a deep question. But you know what? I can go down this rabbit trail right here, man. Let's start with let's start with the 30s, okay? In the 1930s, men were going out and they were providing for their families even during the Great Depression. They were always trying to seek, and it was all the way up till the 1930s. Like this was the structure of society throughout thousands of years back.
Hmm.
Was the man went out and provided food and the hunting.
Yeah.
Okay, woman would typically do the gathering.
Hmm.
Okay, but men were out. The key element of this is men were out working. Man, that tattoo gun. But
Oh no, that's actually the ice machine
oh, is
being
that the
annoying.
ice machine?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. But
annoying.
but anyways, men were going out and they were providing for their families. Like this was the constant structure of society throughout all of time. Then the 1940s hit, and in the 1940s we went to war with Japan and Germany, and during that time, what happened? Men were at war. Women went into the workforce, and so it kind of changed the structure of the home.
Yep.
And so then you look at the 1950s, and in the 1950s, men got back into the workforce, but now mom didn't want to be at home with the children anymore. So she got into the workforce. And then so men kind of just accepted that, kind of still had that little bit of patriarchal structure, I guess you could say. Then the 1960s hit and you had this large feminist movement, right?
And the sex revolution. Yeah.
Yes, sex revolution, feminist movement, and then from there on, right? I guess you could also say add this in there. Lyndon B. Johnson, the Great Society, creating the welfare state. Welfare state was created by Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1935, but it was also Lyndon B. Johnson creating the Great Society for dividing the home, making it easier for women to leave men and receive government assistance. This is why I call it daddy government,
Hmm.
receiving government assistance. So when they leave the man, now the kids are taken care of by the
By the
government.
government. Yeah.
And so there was no need for the man. So what did the man begin to do? He began to become passive.
Yep.
So now we have beta, what you would
Here, one second.
call,
Here, keep talking. You keep
okay, what we would call beta men. We, dude, I can't do it without you in here. You provide the energy.
the big thing was it was right around the 1960s with the sexual revolution, and then the 1970s. Like you can see that the workforce doubled. Like pay like stayed the same, but the workforce doubled because women went into the workforce, and it was all mostly the birth control. It was like them getting the ability to control birth. Like that was like the ultimate hypergamy, was their ability to really choose who's going to have their children and who's not, or whose children they're going to have and who's not. And when that happened and all the power went into their hands, it was just game over. And that's how it's been ever since the 1970s. Like it's literally like right at 1970s and the sexual revolution right before the 1960s. But like you can look at every graph that you can imagine, and everything fucks up. Depression levels, just everything that you can imagine
Yeah.
with society starts fucking up right at 1970, and it's all because of that shit, man. It's just
Exactly. And that's the
horrible.
reason why I bring that up. Lyndon B. Johnson, the Great Society. Well, look at how great society is today. Everybody would say that things are worse today.
Yes.
It wasn't that great, was it?
Yeah.
But that's liberal politics for
Yeah.
you right there. Man,
Liberalism's controlling everybody.
let's provide as the government. But what it did was it created beta men. Men that for their mating strategy learned that I have to shut up. I have to shut up. And I
Or else
can't
you're
I
not
and
gonna
I
have
and I
children.
and I and I can't speak truth. I can't be logical. I can't be reasonable. I have to shut up. And then so how did men kind of counteract that? Video games.
Mm-hmm.
Video games was a way to escape men, like being a
And
man,
pornography.
and pornography, both of them. And here's the thing: it was competitiveness,
Mm-hmm.
is what it was. It was to suppress competitiveness. Now the competitiveness of life, the strategy to compete, is played in a virtual world to win the game.
Yeah, you're
And
trying to be alpha in a whole different world.
right,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And so now men are suppressed. Men have suppressed themselves, though. It's men like us who are willing to get behind microphones and speak on things like this that are encouraging other young men that are living sad, miserable lives. And I say other men, I'm talking about the 32-year-old man in mom's basement that's living a sad, miserable life, that's utterly depressed with his life, and he wants to change. No, no, no. Dude, set down that damn controller, bro, and like go out and experience life. Go out to a bar. And I'm not saying go speak to women, but go sit next to the guy that's sitting by himself at the bar as well, and sit down and have a conversation with him.
Mm-hmm.
Learn to communicate with people. Learn to develop relationships with people. And you never know what that's going to bring in your life and what type of purpose that's going to give you. Because then
Mm-hmm.
once you realize, man, I play a role into somebody else's life, dude, my life isn't so damn miserable. And it's a sacrifice of myself, it's a sacrifice of my time. But you know what? Now I'm competing. Okay. And I'm competing in a realm of building a network, right? A
Yep.
community. And so when I need resources, right? Like let's say, Sergio, I called you in a couple weeks and I was like, "Hey man, you got anybody that in the Wichita area that you've talked to recently, that could potentially come over and have a conversation like this?" You might have somebody for me. You may not, but you might.
Yeah.
But that's because of our ability to go out and try and
Mm-hmm.
network.
Mm-hmm.
We are presented new opportunities in our life, but we have to be willing to take those steps in order to develop those opportunities.
Yep.
You can't sit idly by in your life and expect everything to be handed to you. And so this is the other part of daddy government giving it to you, right? It's like daddy government made men where like, I don't really have a calling. I don't really have a purpose. I don't need to provide.
Yep.
And now we feel the repercussions of that in our society.
Yeah.
So
We
that's
privilege.
really going back to your initial question on where all of this started to fall, was right there, man.
Yeah.
And I
It's
know that's a lot. And I know people with like short attention span couldn't listen to a conversation like that.
Oh no, of course not. Live, love, play, and pray. What she saying? She said, "Yes, you are absolutely shaped as an adult by the way you are raised. Attachment styles are super important to discuss because when you chose a partner, you have to see if your styles are compatible." Yeah, I've been reading a lot about attachment styles lately. Live, love. Hopefully, the shows will get even better with some of the stuff I've been learning about that to help these girls out. What common myths about masculinity do you think should be debunked? Do you see any common myths right now?
There's so many, man.
What's the biggest one you'd say? The one that's like really just messing men up the most?
Short term mating strategies for men.
Oh, that all men are whores, or like what do you mean? Like that all men are doing that, or like what
That
do you
men
mean?
need to go out and have sex with as many women as possible in
Okay,
order to feel happy.
yeah, so they should actually keep it low.
Right.
Yeah.
Keep
Okay.
it
And even
low.
like the studies show that for marriage, like the marriage happiness levels are low for men and women after 20 bodies. For women, it's like 14%, and for men, it's like 18%.
Yeah.
So it's like we're both going to be less happy in a marriage after a high body count. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter whether you're a man or woman, and that's actually something that I don't want to reveal it, but it's one of my big debate topics for the next coming weeks of some of the people I'm going against. Because yeah, there's a huge belief in especially the red pill community, that guys can sleep around just as much and it doesn't do anything to them. Like what's crazy is like there's a prescription that Myron gives out from Fresh and Fit. If he says that you should get at least 50 bodies before you start looking for a serious relationship or like getting married or something, and that's something I heavily did as a guy that's up there. I know that that's not a good thing. Like it fucked me up. Like I know that I have issues because of it, and I'm just being honest with other men whenever I say it's not true that like that's not going to affect you. The biggest thing is that you could pass by a really good girl at one of those random numbers in between, and
Yeah.
she's the one that has the most burning genuine desire. She's the one that's going to be the best person for you, but because you have this idea that you have to get up to 50 first, you're going to completely just fucking like say, fuck you, bitch, you're number 23, you don't get it.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly,
what the fuck?
exactly.
What if she's the greatest thing to ever walk on the earth and you just got
It's like,
lucky? Like, you're so stupid. Like, I don't know. I mean, if you're fucking with really bad women, then yes, you're going to end up with those numbers. But I like one of the biggest things I
yeah,
teach in my
well, you're
program.
taking anything you can get. Let's
Yes,
be
yes,
real.
yes. No, like I have friends who talk about spinning plates, which is where they have multiple girls that they're sleeping with in a week or something. And it's just like, okay, send me a picture of every one of them, and if they're not all fat, I will give you $100. Like, and like if there's at least 2 out of 5 aren't fat, I will give you $100. And it's just like, no, there's always at least one, two, or most of them are overweight women. And it's like, y'all are literally just hedonistic and you're just happy to get your dick wet. And like,
Yeah,
it's like, I'm the type of person where I'm so picky, I won't even fuck a certain girl that's like a certain caliber because it's just like, like
yeah,
I can't do it. Like I won't get horny. Like it's not gonna happen. And like I've literally had relationships where I ended them because I was like disgusted by the woman after just like a few. And like if I learn a lot about a woman, like knowing about like if they have a lot of guys hitting them up, or if I see on their Instagram they have a bunch of guys on there or DMs and stuff like I could have sex with them and then literally like a week or two later be like, I don't like you, like I don't even like I'm kind of disgusted by you now. And so I really don't think that everybody should be trying to get all the high body counts. Like the guys really don't understand that have the low numbers that they're in a really good position as long as they can get the right mentality. They just have a fucking stupid ass mentality of like I need to be like this fucking gangster guy. And it's like you
right.
don't really need to be that gangster guy. You just need to like honestly not be honest though. Like Rollo Tomasi does. One of his rules of Tomasi is that you don't ever say your number. And I do believe as a guy you should do that. Like say like you have a low number, like say I had a number of 3. If a
Mhm.
girl asked me, I wouldn't tell her that I had 3. Like I would be like, oh
Right.
yeah, well don't worry about it. I'll be like, I have 100, and she's like, oh really? I'm like, yeah, it's a joke. Like
Yeah.
I just don't. Just like how you shouldn't honestly, if you have 3, you shouldn't give a fuck about the girl's number. You shouldn't be asking her.
Right.
Like you should just hope, or you should be able to read her by her body language and the type of person she is, and how many guys are hitting her up and stuff. What type of girl she is, and if she's that type of girl, it's on that type of time, then you shouldn't be fucking with her anyways.
Yeah, exactly. And I've been involved in hookup culture, and what I realized through hookup culture is like every time I woke up after sleeping with that woman I didn't really want to be with was I felt miserable.
Yeah. Well, I never felt miserable, but I definitely felt disgusted. I guess
I
miserable
get,
is kind of the same
yeah,
as
that,
disgusted.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and I
It's
mean it
very similar.
as disgust, like because like there's something special about me, yo. Like I do have something to provide, and I'm not just Jana the Jungle, bro. She's just swinging from dick to dick, and who am I? Just another vine,
well,
you
well,
know?
well, well, sometimes I don't even. It's not even that I think that I'm some like special thing. It's more that like it's just the girl wasn't worthy. Like she's just maybe she wasn't up to my part. Like I've had girlfriends prettier than this, and it's like, why did I do that? Like I
Hmm.
went down a notch, or like I went down a step just to get another number, and like that's where to me it was like it's not worth it. Now don't get me wrong, like I'm not saying that I just judge girls just based off their looks, but it's definitely for men, it's a huge precursor to who you want to be with or who you want to fuck. Like I was talking to one of my close friends like a couple of days ago or yesterday, and he was telling me, like I have a lot of girls that like I'm talking to. I just don't want to be in a relationship, and I was like, do you not want to be in a relationship, or are all the girls just not that hot? And I was like, because if you had a girl that was like actually to your par that you wanted, would
Hmm.
you not be in a relationship with her right now? And he was like, yeah, you're right. And it's just like, exactly. So like most guys who are spinning plates or doing anything like that, it's because they're fucking with low par women and they don't want to take them serious. Like I see this all the time now where guys are like not really dating girls. Like they're talking to girls,
Hmm.
and it's usually the overweight girl. It's usually the girls that have a little bit of pounds on them, and they're with a guy that wants to keep his options open. Like he's just kind of fake being the boyfriend, like just being there when she needs it. And it's like, girl, honestly, it's because you're not up to his par. He probably feels like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really crazy how everybody has these egos where they like we're probably all fives and sixes, but some of us think we're tens.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's some goofy shit, dude.
Yeah.
This dude is good. Yeah, what's up, B and Cheeks? I'm excited to have you on, and I think he's coming in
Bean
like,
cheeks.
yeah, he's coming on in like a week or two, man. I'm excited to have
That's
you on,
funny,
bro.
man. Thanks, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Is it okay for men to show their feelings? How does this relate to masculinity? You think? You're gonna have a good opinion on this
I
one.
mean, that's a really good question, but it also depends on in what aspect. Um, there's certain things I'm not going to share with my woman and what I'm battling with. This is the reason why you need to develop quality friendships with good men,
Good job.
right? Like I have challenges. Like let's say I have challenges with my wife, and I don't know necessarily how to go about it. I'm going to go to other married men, and I'm going to have a conversation with them of like, how would you handle this? What do you think about this?
Hmm.
And here's the other thing. I know that I'm articulate with the type of friends that I choose to have those conversations with. I know that they're very mature, and I know that they're very emotionally aware. On top of that, and I know that this is the type of man that's not going to be like, let's say all I'm doing is complaining about her in the midst of this conversation.
Hmm.
I know that this is the type of friend that's going to be like, well, Levi, what are you doing? That's the type of man I'm going to take advice from,
Yep.
because I need the man that's going to hold me accountable and
Check you.
can kind of give me some direction.
Hmm.
So I'm going to go to my friends about some of the relationship issues. And here's the other aspect of that. If it's a friend that's saying, no, dude, screw her, leave her. Dude, no, 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 no. You don't need that type of friend either, because of Christianity, okay, here, if I put a ring on your finger, I'm dying with this broad.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
dying with
Yeah.
it.
You going down with it? Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
exactly.
and like
Like
that.
that's not an option unless she's cheating on me,
Yeah.
unless she's beating me
Yeah.
while I'm sleeping at. I like, dude.
She'd have to be hitting pretty hard too.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. Never mind. Don't women don't beat me, please.
but there's these other aspects to that. Maybe I'm challenged with like discouraged about my friends like failing in their life, and like I feel this deep emotion about that, and I even do that with my own friends now. Like I struggle with like, why are my actions and the way that I'm living my life not influencing these men to step up and be better? And I would share that with my woman. And I think that's a aspect of vulnerability, and I may tear up about that. I may tear up about my feelings of inadequacy due to being raised in a fatherless home and being absent of having male encouragement that like is the father figure in my life.
Hmm.
Like I said, I have a mentor, but the father figure is a little bit different in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Completely. See, like that, and that's what scares me the most. Honestly, is I don't think men should show their feelings at all. Honestly, I honestly think that like it's one of those things that's happening so fucking much today, and it's causing, I think, all the abuse, all of the issues in relationships. I literally boil down like 90% of them to the men being in their emotions.
Right.
Yeah, and I say this as a guy with BPD that's very much in my emotions, and I it's just like I have the greatest perspective of ever of anybody on this subject, especially
Yeah.
like being clingy or like being codependent and stuff. It's like I am the best at talking about relationship stuff because I have been the guy that has tried to rationalize every single point to why I am that way. So because of I'm the best devil's advocate to learn exactly why people fight for this, tooth and nail, and just in the emotion stuff. I've learned that like men just should not be ever in their emotion. I mean, like I just feel like you have to earn it. Like it's a earned thing, and it takes a lot to earn it. Like you have to be that guy basically.
Yeah.
If you're that guy, if you've been on, you got all your buckets filled, you got your money filled, you got your
Uh-huh.
muscles filled, your money muscles game frame, you got everything going for you. I think he deserved his ability to cry every
Yeah.
once in a while, and it's because that girl could never find a better man than you. And that's why you get to do it. You earned it. You earned it, buddy. But I think any guy before they earn it, you are just setting yourself up for failure, or it's a percentage chance because there's some women that can say that can take it, and there's some women that are like, he's not a man anymore in my eyes, and she's going to treat you differently. And
Right.
and since it's a coin drop, since it's a 50-50 heads tails thing, most guys, if you haven't earned it, I don't think you should do it at all. I don't think
Right.
you should at all. But once you can earn it, like I think once you're that guy, fucking do what you want, boy. And
Well,
if she leaves you for it, if she treats you different for it, then bye, bitch. I'll get another one better than
well,
you.
and let's clear this up just a little bit. Like when I'm talking about showing my emotions, it's not necessarily me showing my emotions as a weakness, but maybe as a lack of direction is the reason why I'm going to get emotional. And I'm sharing that with my woman because like and maybe this comes back to my relationship with my mom. being super close with my mom growing up and everything was like mom was home. Mom was a safe place. And what I realized living alone for the last 10 years, essentially, I mean, here and there, I had girlfriends move in with me, just two, three.
Yeah.
But what I realized is like, man, that the house don't feel like home when a woman isn't there.
Yeah.
And so, like,
We
well,
have the
what?
same attachment style, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what makes what what makes that so different? Is it just her, or is it maybe this is like a safe place for me? And I don't mean like I'm the type of dude when somebody breaks in that I'm like jumping behind the bed, grabbing my cat and
Yeah.
crying in the corner of the
Yeah, no,
room.
yeah, no, no, no. It's just an attachment style. It's just,
Right.
yeah, no, no. All you're speaking on is just like your attachment style, and like I'm the same way. Like I was raised mostly by my mom, and that makes me very much like have like the exact same attachment style, and like we like I have the same feeling. Like I remember when I got kicked out when I was 18, and like when I wasn't living with my mom, and I had nobody like that. Even when my mom moved away out of Dallas to a city further away, that stuff like felt some weird ass pain to me. It was like, oh my god, like I miss you, like I and like you will seek that in relationships, like you will seek a relationship where you can confide to, you just want a woman to rub your head, rub your hair, like these different things that like your mother would do for you, or like hold you like while you're crying or something. And like my mom encouraged me to cry a lot, like she encouraged me to be emotional a lot, and that was the wrong thing to do. Like my stepdad was always like, stop babying him, like stop doing that, and like she'd be like, no, 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 no. And like I agree with my stepdad now. It's like I wish she would have never did that to me, because it makes me yearn for that. But you, as men, as we get older, you really do learn how to like, it depends like how strong you're becoming. If you're becoming a strong masculine man, you're going to learn how to put that shit on the suppressor and say, you know what, I'm a man now. I don't need my mommy. I don't need a woman to be my mommy, or to like sit
Right.
there and
Right.
rub my head, or to be there every night so we can watch TV together,
Right.
like I'm used to with my mom. And like I really think that like once you discover that you have that attachment style, because like if you have that attachment style, you'll start running into women that take advantage of that attachment style. Like if you're kind of BPD, you'll start messing with women that are NPD, because they learn how to learn exactly to take advantage of somebody who's a BPD man, or a
Right.
guy who has that level of a type of attachment style like that, and then you get taken advantage of. So like I really believe that guys like us that have this style of attachment, we have to find a real certain type of woman. Honestly, sometimes a woman that also has BPD, that also has the same type of attachment style, to want to be codependent or like want to be with you just as much. I've been doing a lot of research on like personality disorders and like cluster B disorders, like what we're talking about, because I have one, and it's just crazy when you really dive deep and you learn about it. um you can really learn to harness like the power behind it, I guess, because it's
Yeah.
a very bad thing, but you can learn how to make it a good thing. But you have to be with the right person for that to come out,
Right.
because if you keep choosing the type of girls that your attachment style grabs for, it's the worst type of people for you.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'll also clarify this. Like, I'm a very emotional man, and I'm not emotional in the sense of like the world sucks. I'm a victim. Let me go
Yeah, you're not
cry
black, you're
about it.
not a black pill
It's
doomer.
actually my emotions derive from my passion. Yo, my passion, man. Whenever it's something comes up that's kind of discouraging, um, or maybe it's something where it's like really heartfelt. Like I know that men are killing themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and I know what it's like to be in that dark place,
Mm-hmm.
and I know my feeling about it. I know my calling about it. And so like because I'm so secure in that calling and that passion to give them, hey dude, clean up your room.
Mm-hmm.
Start getting things in order.
Mm-hmm.
Start structuring your plan. Maybe go to the gym. Maybe work out. Maybe you start eating healthy. This is one thing that we started implementing. My buddy Ryan and I, we're doing the 75-day challenge, Andy Fischella, and
Nice.
it's
Nice.
freaking awesome, bro. I gave up alcohol a couple weeks ago, man, and I feel freaking great. I got so much energy, and here's the thing: it's energy that I haven't felt for so long because the last 12 years, man, anything that I came across, I just suppressed it with a bottle.
Yeah.
And so, where I'm going with that though is that like us men, like we have these passions, and like it may be that we're emotional about it, but if your emotions are derived from your victimization, that's weak
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
different. So I wanted to
Yeah,
make
you can
that clear
target it and make it
distinction.
strong. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, no, no, I definitely believe that all my issues, I channel it into this channel, and I channel it into making other people's lives better. Like, you can turn it into a superpower if you so choose to look at it as a superpower. If you sit there and look at it as a vice or use it as a crutch or as something to play victim as, then you're fucked. Like,
Right, right.
you're gonna, and as
And
men, you're gonna be, everybody's
I
gonna
would
hate you
never do
forever.
that around a woman,
Yeah.
and I would expect all of my men to look at me and say, "Shut up,
If
Levi."
you did.
Yeah,
Yeah, not, what was he saying? A few more weeks. That's awesome. I swear people think you aren't a real person. Being Cheeks, a little birdie told me you will be on the whatever pod as well. What? Nah, next week, the week after the whatever podcast is dead to me. Show got over his head with too many red pillars, and Brian started ignoring me when I wanted to book my flight out, so he bailed on me by ignoring me. Being Cheeks, he did the same thing to me, bro. When they first started, he tried to fly me out, and then he ignored me after he invited me on. Oh no, really did Brian screw you over? I notice he's really tanking his spot over there. First with Chase being a co-host and now losing followers because it is so chaotic. I haven't watched one episode of whatever in a minute. He said he wanted me on his show, then he stopped talking to me. That's not a problem. Sergio's gay, and yeah, I get to get you on now, Beard Cheeks. Man, you've been supporting whatever for that long, dude. They've been around for a minute. I'm glad before I get big, believe me this. Oh, dude, I'm going to be big when you come on because I'm going on 2 big podcasts, bro. So I'm going to be big right when you come on. Serge is my favorite. Thank you, Live Love. He actually wants help both men and women. I've been there from the beginning. Wish more people would see the value he brings. I wish so too. I'm finally gonna get my chance to get out there, guys. Uh that's the big goal. We're about at that time where I finally get to go on the big screen. Um, you spent as much money over there too. Brian's loss, yeah. All right, well, guys, let me get to this next question. What was the next one? Um, what pressures do you think men face because of society's views on masculinity?
dude. Again, I'm going right back there. It's simply the guy that is suppressing truth, the man that's afraid, the lack of courage. That's the man that is allowing society to play too many roles on him. I like what George, and I've said this in every podcast for the last like 5 or 6, but it was episode 363, and I think it may have been John Paggio that Jordan Peterson was doing a podcast with, and I thought that this was really interesting. But he said that every conversation, the further that you dig it, eventually it leads to the conversation about the creator.
Always.
Always, dude. No matter how far you dig into it, that's where you're going to lead. Is this the question? Um, I'm sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought. Could you give it to me
Yeah,
again?
what pressures do you think men face because of society's views on masculinity?
Okay, okay. I'm just trying to tie the link of like that thought. Like I said, guys, I'm operating on very little sleep
3
here.
hours, guys. 3
Yeah,
hours.
yeah. But no, like, so this conversation about the creator, a God. Okay, I'm a believer in Jesus Christ. And so like I've accepted Jesus as objective truth in my life. So I base everything that I do off of Jesus. And so like this kind of shapes me. And so like what I know, this is where I was going. What I know is objective truth. I'm going to act on objective truth, and I'm not going to worry what society, what my community thinks about me. Let me tell you guys something. I'm from a town of 13,000 people, El Dorado, Kansas. All right, let me call them out because not a single one of them. Okay, not and what I mean, like, and I mean the basis of the community. Let's talk about the El Dorado Times, the newspaper. There's been no community outreach to me on the Pursuing Truth podcast, and I'm like, yo, right now I know that at least to my knowledge, I have the largest platform that's come out of El Dorado, and not a single one of these community, that's part of my community, my hometown, has reached out to me.
Yeah.
And so, like, for a long time, I internalized that in myself, and I'm like, why don't I receive this support from my community? Obviously, there's people that are moved by the conversations that I'm having.
Mhm.
But why don't they support me? Once I learned to give that up and just focus on the objective truth,
Mhm.
then I wasn't suppressed. So that's what men are experiencing. They're expressing the suppression of what they believe in,
Mhm.
and the fear of not acting.
Yep. No, that's so true, man. It's
Sorry, I
actually
lost my way there, yo.
no, y'all are good. I'm not a billionaire, but I support anyone who has their heart in helping men and women. Hey, you don't got to be a billionaire being cheeks. What changes should be made to traditional views of masculinity? Do you think there should be any changes, or do you think it should stay the
Hell
same?
no.
We should stay like how it used to be.
How it used to be. Hell
Biblical
yeah.
patriarchy, baby.
Yep.
We need to go back to biblical patriarchy. What do you understand? What do you understand by the term toxic masculinity, and how is it different from real masculinity? Is there a difference between toxic masculinity and real masculinity?
I, dude, I haven't really been able to articulate and fully grasp the whole toxic masculinity
That's because it's not a
conversation.
word, bro. It's a filler word for just bullshit.
Yeah,
It's not a real fucking
and and
word.
and I that's the thing, dude. I as I run, like, here we go. We were I was thinking about this while you were talking about, how, like, you kind of like work through these things that you think about what you want to bring up on the podcast, and what you're actually doing is you're talking to yourself. You're kind of creating this little internal dialogue, and so,
Uh-huh.
like, this is what I did on that toxic masculinity topic. I'm like, I can't even like comprehend like what is toxic masculinity, and what is let's say that we have a perspective of toxic masculinity. What Sergio perceives as toxic masculinity isn't going to be the same as I perceive what toxic
It's a
masculinity is.
container word. Yeah.
Exactly. So what is it? The base word there is masculinity. How do we view masculinity? How about we talk about that?
Yeah.
Get toxic masculinity out of your head and start acting on what you believe is a good and righteous man. Again, coming back to the initial question there too, integrity and character.
Hmm.
That's what I say a man is. Are you willing to live on the words that you say? Are you willing to act on the beliefs that you believe in?
Yep. No, it's crazy that toxic masculinity is even a word that's said. Everybody needs to shut it down as soon as y'all see it in society or anybody brings it up. Y'all need to shut it down and say, "What is toxic masculinity?" Like, ask them, like, "What is it?" Because it's not toxic when it's running into a burning building to save somebody's life. It's
Right.
not toxic when it's going to do laying down in front of somebody who's getting shot at or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not toxic in those moments. So it's kind of stupid that we call any type of masculinity toxic. There's just emotional or not emotional, but there's just toxic individuals. We should talk about toxic femininity because we know there's some fucking toxic
Oh
femininity in
yeah.
this fucking
Oh
world. Um, how can men stay true to themselves while dealing with society's expectations of
yeah. Dude,
masculinity?
I already answered that question,
Yeah,
didn't I?
yeah, you definitely did. That's like actually everything about who you are right now.
Yeah.
What are some good qualities of men that often go unnoticed? You think?
Oh
Oh, dude, there's
man.
so many.
Oh,
Holy
so
shit.
many, bro. And that is a really good question that needs some real awareness on it.
Yeah,
Um, but the men that are willing to step out of their comfort zone don't get recognized by a lot of women.
yeah,
Um, it's almost like that short-term mating strategy created blinders for them to see what a real man is, and that is acting service. Yo, our service to the world is it goes vastly unnoticed, and the conversation how it goes unnoticed and kind of the deceitfulness of it is the feminist movement saying that all women need to be able to do all men's jobs. And yeah, sure, if a woman wants to do a man's job, okay, cool. But if her reason for wanting to do a man's job is to prove to men that I can do it too, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. You're not doing it because you love it. You're doing it to prove something to somebody.
yeah,
And that's wrong. And that is not a joyful reason to do something and go down a path of purpose behind something, right?
yeah.
So this is the problem with the feminist deceitfulness and their toxicity, right? It's like us men need to be dude, again, I'm losing my train of thought, dude. I'm so sorry, dude. I'm
You're
just
just
losing my
tired, man.
yeah, I'm
No,
just
I
tired.
mean, if they want a job, they can go become a construction worker right now. They
Right.
want equality. They can go fucking get a construction job.
Yeah.
And none of them are gonna sign up. Like, I'm sure there's a road that's being built right down the street, and they're not gonna go apply with that fucking owner or the manager of the
Right.
company right now. It's fucking stupid, honestly. Equality, my ass. What are some or how does being a real man affect a man's personal romantic relationships? You think
Absent.
being absent?
Absent of romantic relationships. In
Oh,
today's world, absolutely.
yeah.
Women don't want real men. Hello, wake up. You don't want a real man.
Yeah, well, I would just say women don't know what they want. Like they actually don't know what they want. Like they think they want something, but they really need a man to come and tell them what they need.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. How many real men are there?
There's not that many. Dude.
Exactly,
No,
exactly.
it's just
Okay.
not that bad.
So what we know by that is that women are constantly surrounded around a bunch of
Losers.
stupid beta.
Beta cucks.
Yeah,
Beta
yeah,
orbiters.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're surrounded around all of these men. So when a real one comes, what does that real one appear to be?
An
Weird.
asshole. Yeah, weird. A dickhead.
A
Yeah.
dickhead,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. If you talk like a confident man today, it's like gonna go one of two ways. If she's attracted to you, it's gonna be good. If she's not attracted to you, it's like, oh, you're just an asshole. You
Right.
know. But I mean, honestly, it's better to be an asshole than to be the creep. Because that's the other thing that's gonna happen. If you go up and flirt with her, she's either gonna perceive it as, if you're attractive, she's gonna say, "Oh, this hot guy, hit on me." But if you're an ugly person, she's like, "Ew, get away, creep."
Yeah.
It's like
Exactly.
it's all based off perspective. Like it's
Hmm.
subjective based off of each fucking girl.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why you literally got to talk to a million to see which ones are down for you like that. But no, guys, we're gonna go ahead and close this up. I got another show coming on soon with Dr. Matt. He might be on. He might stay. Are you gonna stay on with me for it? Maybe.
I I don't know, bro. I mean, you can tell. Like, I
Yeah, you're
went
pretty
from probably
tired.
like an IQ of like 84 down to 36. So,
So yeah, maybe not. But no, guys, I got Dr. Matt here. We're gonna do a little discussion on some Russia propaganda, and then we're also going to have the ladies' night show, the show for the ladies tonight. So yeah, make sure y'all show up for those things. Hit the notification bell for those videos. They should be up somewhere. But yeah, thank you so much for coming, bro. Go ahead and shout out your Instagram or YouTube channel though, so
I,
everybody can find you.
absolutely. Hey guys, you can follow me on Instagram, Pursuing Truth Podcast, L Brickley Official on TikTok, and that's also Pursuing Truth Podcast on YouTube. We do interviews. We have kind of discussions like what we just had. It's kind of one on one and just like really digging deep into the topic. I know that Sergio has a lot of people that come on and want to like tell the world their story because they don't have a platform or anything like that. But my goal and what I do is that we sit down, we have one on one conversations, we seek the meaning, the reason why things are happening in this world. We try and determine those things. So if you'd like to, go listen to some of those conversations that we have on the Pursuing Truth podcast platform, there you go. You can go check it out.
Yeah. Definitely check it out, guys. Please go check out his stuff. And are you a vet? He says the guest a vet.
No,
Yeah.
I worked in law enforcement for 5 years.
Nah, he just had good color. He just had good color coding today, bro. But yeah, no, thank y'all guys so much. I'll see y'all on that next show soon. I'll see y'all on the night show tonight, guys. But yeah, thank you so much, bro. We'll see y'all later. Peace out.